They say life tests the ones who already have too much on their plate, and Maria Ekun had been tested more than most. She wasn't looking for miracles. She wasn't waiting for some prince. All Maria ever wanted was enough. Enough food on the table. Enough time with her daughter. Enough strength left in her bones at the end of every exhausting day to keep going. But even that was too much to ask from the world. A single mother in a city that didn't care, Maria scrubbed floors in luxury hotels by day and waited tables in cheap restaurants by night. At the end of every shift, she came home to an apartment she could barely afford, with a broken fridge, an even more broken phone, and a daughter who asked questions Maria didn't always have the answers to. One night, after counting the last 1,240 Nigerian nairas in her account, Maria opened her phone and stared at a message from an unknown number. Congratulations! You've been selected for a 500,000 Nigerian nairas grant for struggling single mothers. Kindly send your account details to claim. At first, she thought it was a scam. Of course it was. But desperation has a strange way of silencing logic. And Maria was desperate. So she responded. 2 days later, her phone died completely. Not out of battery, fried. Wiped. Everything gone. Every photo, every message, including the one that gave her hope. She took it to a phone technician, praying for recovery. The verdict. Madam, this one. It's been remotely erased. Like someone was covering their tracks. And just like that, she knew. She'd been scammed. But instead of rage, Maria whispered a prayer into her trembling hands. God, maybe he needed it more than I did. I hope it helped him somehow. She never imagined those words would be heard. That day, she couldn't pick her daughter up from school. She didn't have enough to pay the overdue fees. She couldn't buy bread. She couldn't cover rent. She could barely look Lila in the eyes. And then, on the 6th day, as she was taking out the trash, he returned. A black SUV pulled up beside her building. A man stepped out, calm, quiet, dressed plainly. Not a scammer. Not a kingpin. Not someone you'd notice, unless you were desperate to be noticed. Maria Ekun, he asked. She froze. Run, her instinct screamed. Who's asking? He said his name was David. I believe I owe you an apology. And with that, he handed her an envelope. Inside was a printed bank statement with her name, her account number, and the transaction. 500,000 Nigerian nairas. Deposited. 2 days ago. Her voice broke. Why? Why would you help me? Why would you pretend to be a scammer? David looked her in the eye and said, 6 years ago, I was homeless. Jobless. I had nothing. One woman gave me a meal and a pair of shoes. When I asked how I could repay her, she said, don't pay me back. Pay it forward, when you can. And I could. So I did. Maria was still in disbelief when he played back a voice memo, one he had recovered from her broken phone. It was her voice, praying for the man who had scammed her. That prayer told me you were the one. That day, Maria paid her daughter's school fees in full. By the end of the month, she was promoted to front desk manager at the hotel. And when she walked past the cafe where her former boss had once humiliated her publicly, she didn't stop to gloat. She just said, funny how life circles back, doesn't it? But Maria had no idea. Her story wasn't over. It was only just beginning. Because the envelope David gave her had a stamp, one she barely noticed at the time. Vault Trust Foundation. When she searched for it online, nothing came up. No website, no contact, and no record. Just article after article, all with the same chilling headline. Vault Trust founder missing for 7 years, millionaire turned ghost. Suddenly, the money felt different. David wasn't just a generous man. He was someone the world wanted to forget. Maria enlisted the help of a teenage hacker named Kola to dig deeper. Kola's search uncovered something wild. David Eromasi was an ex-government contractor who vanished after exposing a major financial scandal inside a national defense project. Before he disappeared, he created Vault Trust, a secret platform that used money funneled from corrupted elites to fund anonymous acts of kindness. Kindness, like the money Maria received. This isn't charity, Kola told her. This is warfare. And you just stepped into the middle of it. That night, Maria got a message. Stop digging, or she disappears. Across the street, Lila was playing alone. Ivan rode up behind her. Maria ran. She didn't think, didn't breathe, just ran. The van sped off. Lila was safe, but shaken. And the message was loud and clear. Kindness had made Maria a target. She went off-grid, destroyed her SIM, switched phones, hid with Lila in a cheap motel. Then, another knock on the door. She gripped a knife, stepped closer. It was David. He looked worn, haunted, bleeding. They found you, he said. He took her to an old abandoned church where, by candlelight, he showed her everything. Projector screens flickered to life. Memos, emails, surveillance, and names. This was Vault Trust's mission, he said. Expose them. Starve them. Build something better with what they stole. But they started killing the ones who tried to help. That's why I vanished. And now, you're the only one who can finish this. But Maria wasn't ready. Until the day she came home to find Lila gone. All that remained was a note. Turn yourself in, or she disappears forever. They had crossed the line. Maria didn't run. She didn't beg. She went to the press. In front of live cameras, she declared, I am not a hacker. I am not a criminal. I am a mother. And I will not trade my child's memory for your silence. That night, Maria uploaded the first Vault Trust leak, proof of mass corruption, state-sponsored surveillance, and black budget assassinations. It sparked a nationwide storm. But with truth came danger. As Maria tried to escape the growing chaos, she was captured, blindfolded, taken to a dark hangar. There, standing with the calm of a man who'd never feared consequence, was the controller. The man who'd ordered the death of whistleblowers. The architect of Protocol Ekun, the very program that erased people like Maria from the system. You could have been bought, he told her. Instead, you chose war. He pulled a gun. But before the trigger pulled, boom, the wall exploded. Smoke bombs. Flashbangs, screams, and through the haze, David emerged, alive, bleeding, but alive. They escaped together, with Lila. But Maria's digital identity was ruined, her accounts frozen, her records wiped. She no longer existed in any system. That's when David handed her the final piece, a drive labeled the Phoenix. This is the kill switch, he said. But using it means everything connected to VaultNet, surveillance, banking, media, goes offline. Clean slate. But so do your rights. Your life, on paper, ends. Maria didn't hesitate. Then let the paper burn. She pressed enter. The system collapsed. The world woke up. The controller was arrested. Vault Trust was exposed. Protests erupted around the world. And though Maria was erased from the system, she was etched into history. Graffiti of her face appeared on buildings. Children named after her. Movements sparked by her courage. She and Lila moved to a quiet village. She became a teacher. Humble. Anonymous. Free. Until one night, she received a brown envelope. No return address. No sender. Inside, a key. And a note. One last door to open. Come when ready. D. Maria followed the coordinates to an abandoned vault core facility. Inside, a blinking light. A lock server is still humming. And a child's drawing taped to the terminal. One she never made. Behind her. Footsteps. She turned. David stood there. "Welcome back, Maria," he said. But whether it was truly the end, or just the next chapter, that remained to be seen. Life lessons from the story. They can copy your face. They can steal your name. They can even erase you from the system. But they cannot delete your voice when it echoes in the hearts of others. Being underestimated is a hidden weapon. And kindness. It's a revolution the corrupt will never understand. Because when the world tells you to stay silent, lighting a match can still burn down an empire. And sometimes, it only takes one mother to start the fire.